like to call the August 7, 2014 regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission to order at 7:04 p.m. In attendance, alternate member Holtgren, regular members Sienna, Gunn, and I'm acting chair Galdenzi. First order of business, it's going to be a public hearing, P&Z application 2014/15-1. Petition of North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the North Branford zoning regulations by amending section 23.1, Schedule A, permitted uses as set forth in Schedule A by adding the following language: as permitted use requiring administrative approval of a site development plan. C-23 bulk storage of propane on parcels of land south of Route 80, east of Cyril Road, and bounded on all sides at the time of application by similarly zoned properties. And to modify the text of section 23.2.6 to read as follows: bulk storage of cement and petroleum products, public utility company electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage other than propane. And seated for the public hearing tonight is alternate member Holtgren, regular members Sienna, Gunn, and Galdenzi. So do we have,
Okay, yeah, I mean, basically, there, the legal notice is in the
Legal
paper.
notice.
Yep, so we're okay with that. Included in your packet is basically the legal notice, the wording of the amendment, and a brief description of it, which to allow bulk storage of propane in I-2 zones on parcels of land south of Route 80, east of Cyril Road, and bounded on all sides at the time of application by similarly zoned properties. That's basically the specifics, and then, which is covered by item number 1. We're adding that to Schedule 23.1, Schedule A, permitted uses. It allows site plan approval in an I-2 zone for bulk storage. And also, there's a proposed amendment to modify the text of section 23.2.6 to read as follows: bulk storage of cement and petroleum products, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage other than propane. And this was in the current regs. This is references what's prohibited.
right, okay, yeah.
So it allows bulk storage of propane. That was the wording that was discussed last time. There's a proposed Schedule A amendment, a zoning map. And also included, there's comments from both the building department and the fire marshal's office. The last 2 sheets I've included there. Building department basically says, agrees with the proposal. Any facility must comply with current Connecticut building codes. And the fire marshal's comments: after review, no problems with said amendments as long as applicant follows all Connecticut general statutes, NFPA, and Connecticut fire safety codes.
Okay.
And it also was referred to the regional planning agency just in case, but they said there really is no impact, so they had no comments.
So this is, we're the applicant.
We are the
So
applicant.
there's no applicant.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're at, some of the deadlines or standards are a little different, but it's basically proceeding as a Planning and Zoning Commission application.
Commission, any questions?
No, I'd suggest follow the usual procedure, let the people who want to speak in favor of it, and then folks who want to talk about an opposition.
Okay. And if we have any more, any discussion or anything we need to get more from Kurt, are we set to open it up to the public?
Yeah.
Okay. What we'd like to do is open the public portion of the public hearing. If we can have, just as standard protocol, we'd like to have just the people that want to speak in favor to come forward first. So just simply raise your hand. We'll call you up. You come up, if you can please just come up to the microphone, state your name, your address, and then make your comment or statement. We'll listen to those, and then we'll have the folks opposed or would like to make a comment to the contrary. So, anyone that wants to speak up? Come on, John.
Sorry I'm so slow tonight. Good evening, gentlemen. John Landolfi, 145 Village Street. I've been watching this propane item go by, and I think it's a very good avenue for the town. It's in an industrial park. It's not going to be near any homes, and I think we could use the tax revenue that would bring to this town. I think it's a wise proposal, and I'll stake my name on it. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
David Palumbo, 77 Glen Meadow Drive, Northford. As John Landolfi is saying, I can't reiterate that enough. I'm a business owner in town. I've been watching our taxes increase. We need business, we need industrial in our community to offset our taxes for our community. And I think I think the Sullivan Group and the Sullivan family are nothing but upstanding members of their community, and I think they'll be the same for our community here, and I welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Seward. I live at 32 Meadowbrook Drive. I'm the fire chief for the town of North Branford. I appeared before this committee in the past. Again, today to answer any questions or concerns that individuals may have, but I too, like the two previous comments, would support a project like this in our community. And as the letter that was read earlier, providing that the individuals constructing this project comply with Connecticut General Statutes 29-331 and NFPA 58, which are the applicable codes and standards for liquefied propane gas storage. I would welcome it in the community. I have surveyed the area from a fire safety standpoint. There's a water supply that's in the general vicinity of where the facility would be erected. And I'm sure the reputable company that it is would do an effective fire safety analysis that's recommended, come back to the town and the authority having jurisdiction, being the fire marshal. And I bring that point up specifically because there's been a lot of information about the authorities having jurisdiction. If you read the Connecticut State Fire Code, in all of the fire codes, it's preempted by stating that the commissioner for the Department of Public Safety is the authority having jurisdiction for the overall management and administration of the fire code. If you read it further, it says the local fire marshal is the responsible individual for ensuring compliance with the fire code, and that's what we're dealing here. So as a construction project takes place in our community, it's the local fire marshal that has the jurisdiction over code compliance in the state of Connecticut. So again, I support this project and would be available as a subject matter expert to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Good evening. Thank you. Anthony Candelora, 10 Briarwood Drive. Presently mayor of North Branford, also resident and business owner, 2 businesses. I'd like to echo some of the things that have previously been said. Having your own family business in these economic times, we all know is very difficult. When someone puts their name on their business, it even means more. I've researched greatly, not only the Sullivan business themselves, but about propane, and I feel very confident in this business model that they're putting forward, and I totally support it, and I'm pleased that they're, and honored that they're looking at our town, and I hope that we can get more businesses to come into our town. And I think this board and many of the other boards have done a wonderful job in accepting and working with these businesses, and I think it's going to help us in the future. So thank all of you, and I support this entirely. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Jeffrey Beatty, 25 Boston Street. I'm attorney for J.J. Sullivan, 2772 Boston Post Road, LLC. I'd just like to thank this commission for considering this application and the support we've received from the town staff, members of the town, in helping us review what the town regulations are and to propose something that we think will benefit the town in addition to our clients. So we thank you for your time and consideration, and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else want to make a comment? Okay, again, if we will offer or open it up to anyone that just wants to make another comment. Yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
Nancy Cloud, 20 Village Street, Northford. I guess I'm the opposition here, and I had some thoughts about the changing of the regulations to accommodate the bulk propane storage, and I have a lot of questions that I would like to be addressed. First off, are they new or used tanks? How do these tanks get filled? How often? Have evacuation routes been looked at? Have there been traffic studies done? The water availability, I heard him say there was. Medical availability in case of accident. How much acreage per 10,000 gallon? And we're talking about 60,000 gallon storage. There are some condos and houses nearby. And, you know, we have a new library, Atwater Library, and the historic district is only a half a mile away from this parcel of property that they're talking about. And I wondered if this is still an agricultural town that we promoted for the Corn and Potato Fest. How many trucks are we thinking of that will be on Route 80, which is already congested? And just as a sidebar, I wanted to remind the Planning and Zoning Board that we turned down Big Y for their location to fill home tanks for safety reasons, which was a big thing to us as on the Planning and Zoning. And I thought the purpose of the North Branford Planning and Zoning is to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to make a comment about, so if you want to make a comment to her, we're just going to wait to the end of the comment period before you make a comment to her comments. Anyone else in opposition that wants to speak? Okay. Does the applicant or someone want to?
We're actually the applicant in this case.
Yeah, we're the applicant.
Yeah.
To address any of those questions that came up?
Good evening. My name is Robert Sonicson. I'm with Waldo and Associates. I'm a design engineer working with J.J. Sullivan on design of propane facilities. We worked on them in Guilford, and we've been looking at the property on Ciro Road. Some of the questions that were raised, we don't have the answers to because we're at such a preliminary stage. What we're asking here is to have the zone change to allow us to go forward, to proceed to the Inland Wetlands Commission, and then to do a site plan for planning and zoning. Through that period, we will be developing fire safety analysis that the fire chief mentioned, and doing traffic analysis, and it will be available at the stage of site plan review. The tanks that will be on the site will be new tanks. Generally, what the bulk storage tanks will be absolutely brand new, never used, initial installation. There is a market for used tanks, but this will be brand new tanks, meeting all of the 2014 safety standards which are extensive. The tanks that'll be on the site will be also new tanks that will be used to be prepared to be delivered to new homes and new businesses who are converting to propane or are expanding their propane use. So they'll get new tanks in, smaller tanks, maybe 5,000 gallon, 500 gallon tanks. There'll be a limited number of them on the site that will be there in inventory, empty, and they will be prepared and delivered to different locations for installation. There will occasionally be a tank taken out of service that could be brought to the yard and stored temporarily before it's scrapped, but that will be only a very limited number. We feel strongly that there's available water. The number of trips are going to be limited. We're expecting to have 2 bobtails, which are the delivery trucks that will be parked under a canopy on the site. It may expand to 3 depending on how the business does grow. But what will happen in terms of truck traffic is that the drivers will come to the site in the morning. They'll get into their trucks. They will leave the site and make deliveries throughout the region. This is a very convenient location for J.J. Sullivan because it's sort of in the heart of their delivery region. And it's also a town that's going to be, there's some open space and areas that can be developed. So there'll be more business in North Branford and the surrounding towns. But what they'll do is they'll be out. They won't come back during the day except under very rare occasions. They'll be out all day doing their deliveries. They'll come back at night and park their truck. So there won't be a lot of additional traffic anywhere on Ciro Road or on Route 80 from the delivery trucks. There will be an occasional transport truck that comes in to fill the 2 30,000 gallon tanks. We're expecting that will probably be, depending on the season, during the winter there'll be more deliveries. But let me just ask, what do you think will probably be the number of transports that will be coming in during the course of the week?
At this point, it's the winter, 2 to 3.
During 2 to 3 a week?
Yeah, that's the maximum.
The maximum would be 2 to 3 trucks. The transports carry 10,000 gallons each, so they're basically coming in to fill up the what is used out of the main tanks. Those were the highlights. And absolutely we will commit to the fact, and we wouldn't be building this facility if it didn't greatly exceed the minimum standards of the National Fire Protection Code. Sullivan's takes great pride. These bulk facilities have so many safeguards in them that they're much safer than people's individual home heating systems because they have the automatic shutoffs. They have a number of different places that they're automatic kill switches. If there's a leak detected, the entire system shuts down. The fire protection in the propane industry has done a very good job, and they're right in the forefront in terms of safety, and they're going to stay there because propane is going to continue to grow in the United States. It's an American fuel. Most of it comes out of Pennsylvania. We're getting away from foreign oil. It's clean, environmentally, less greenhouse gases. It's going to be more and more, filling more and more of our energy needs as time goes on. And the region is very light, has a real demand for additional bulk storage. Last winter showed us that they were starting to ration. We had transportation problems getting the propane into the Northeast. With storage in town, the people of North Branford will be able to be assured that they won't run out of propane with this amount of storage in town. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
I have a quick question. So I want to clarify something. I
Sure.
think I know the answer. So these ones that, the 500 gallon or so ones you're prepping, and then the potential one that possibly comes back occasionally for scrapping, those are empty?
Yes.
Right? You're not filling those?
No.
So it's not an additional volume yet?
No, they are brought to the customer.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They're in, the system
And
is
then filled.
installed.
Right, I thought so.
And then they are filled.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With regards to the questions that were asked, I think I can comment on a couple of those as well. With regards to the evacuation route that was questioned, as the fire chief, I will tell you that if this project moves forward and as the project develops, the fire department will work aggressively with the proposed vendor to look at evacuation routes. And Connecticut state statutes require communities to have a functionable local emergency planning committee, LEPC, and they're required to have an exercise annually. So we could potentially look at this project as fulfilling that requirement as well. As I stated, there is a hydrant located on the street. Another question has to do with if someone got hurt working on that site. As with any injury or medical emergency that takes place in the community, the routine is you dial 911, and in North Branford, the fire department is the first responder for both EMS and ambulance transport. So with that activation, we would respond. I'll have to defer the question regarding the potential of a filling station at Big Y that was rejected as part of the project. But I think I can also say that listening to the amount of vehicles that would enter and exit as well as transfer to the site, I can safely say that truck traffic on Route 80 that carries hazardous materials far exceeds what my concern would be with a 60,000 gallon propane storage in town. There are numerous bobtails that transverse Route 80, 17, 22, 139 on a daily basis. A 6,000 gallon gasoline tanker that's offloading at any gas station in the town presents a very unique fire hazard. Again, there's multiple safeguards built in, but if you look at these from a risk analysis, that's where our risk lies. As I stated to this committee before, right in the back of our complex here, we have a water treatment facility that has significant amounts of hazardous material. We have a rink, ice rink up in the center of Northford that has potentially volumes of hazardous materials that can be released into the atmosphere. So if I compare those other hazards that are present in our community, I'm very comfortable at looking at a propane installation in our town and the capabilities that the fire department can provide if an emergency would take place there would be pretty routine. We respond to 20-pound propane cylinder leaks throughout our community on a regular basis. At the end of Fowler Road, there is a propane filling station that's been there for many years. You have 20 100-pound, 1,000-pound cylinders located throughout this community. Some are hidden to car traffic, but again, propane is alive and well in our community. Again, I would state, as I did before, I'm in full support of this project.
Chief, I just had a question too. So I think that last time you presented it, you did mention again the location of the hydrant.
Yes.
And we wondered if it had adequate water supply, because there's no.
We can do a hydrant flow test.
Yeah, okay.
And I checked with Kurt yesterday with regards to where on Zero Road this actually, the potential plot of land that's going to be used is, and it's much closer to the hydrant than what I had originally thought.
Good.
So again, as the project proceeds, we'll do a flow test from the hydrant.
Yeah, good, thank you. Okay, any other further comment from the public? Commission, any questions?
Happy with the
Okay.
information.
Close the public portion. Okay, any further comments, questions? Okay, at this point, we're going to close the public portion of the public hearing. Thank you all for commenting. So, Commission, any further discussion that we need to have?
Until we get ready to vote on it.
Okay.
Just a clarification on what the new statute's gonna read. I think last time we had a question about the wording of it.
It's proposed in there, the way it got left off, let me just get mine. Basically, the real change is, if you look at, again, what we're proposing on the Schedule A in yellow, adding this C-23, bulk storage of propane parcels of land south of Route 80, east of Cedar Road, abounded on all sides at the time of application by similarly zoned properties. And it's prohibited in all zones except for I-2, which requires a site plan approval, which is administrative approval of the commission. That, and also if you go to the regulations, the other proposed change is on section 23.2.6. And let me just jump ahead to it, just to.
Remember that, we had a lot of discussion on this because these are prohibited uses, and then we had a lot of discussion in Ron that
That's
the
the one,
suggestion that
that's the
we
one I have questions.
we
Right.
make it crystal clear, so we separated out and
And-
put gas storage other than propane at the end, so it was crystal clear that that's what we meant.
The current 23.2.6, which is a prohibition, says bulk storage of cement and petroleum products, public utility, electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage. That's the current. And then that's proposed to be amended to read bulk storage of cement and petroleum products, public utility company, electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage other than propane.
So everything before that is prohibited.
That's correct.
Okay.
Other than propane is
Okay.
what's proposed to be added, so that's permitted, it's not excluded. At least that's the intent.
I think that should be.
And if we had to, if anyone felt there's a change, I mean, you could do that as part of the application if you, once we have the public hearing and we can look at changing a little bit if you have a concern with words.
We okay with the language?
Yeah.
Okay, move on to the next public hearing. Shall we?
Yeah.
Move on to the next one. right?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys satisfied? Ron?
We're good.
Okay. Okay, we are going to open the next public hearing. This is P and Z application. Make sure this is the right one. Okay. P and Z application 2014/15-3. Special use request under section 23.1. Schedule A, line A2, to construct 2 one-bedroom dwelling units on second floor of the existing building fronting Foxen Road at number 5 Foxen Road. It's map 14, lot 8, B1 zone, owner applicant BNS LLC. Sitting for the public hearing is alternate member Holtram, regular member Sienna, Gunn, and Geldenzi.
All right, and it's been duly noticed. And just a quick one just to highlight, at the last meeting, we changed the regulations, the commission changed regulations to allow the dwelling units in a B1 zone. And formerly been prohibited, now it's a permitted use for the special use permit. And now they're just coming forward with the actual application for that particular property.
Okay? So we'll have the applicant come forward. So, yeah, so for this public hearing, since we have an actual applicant, we'll have the applicant present, and we'll open up for public comment, do the same routine Those in approval and those in opposition can speak.
And just for the commissioners, there is a packet with the public hearing notice, the application is in there. There's a 2-page application, there's a statement of use for 5 Foxton Road, at 5 Foxton Road. There are comments included both from the fire marshal, basically saying that as long as they comply with the fire safety codes, you have no issues, and the building department, they need to comply with Connecticut Building Code, and bedrooms must have emergency means of egress per section 1025 of the code. There's also a folded up plan. You should have one sheet right underneath it, which has been provided by the applicant. So that's basically it, and that's what you have in your packet. Okay?
David Palumbo, 77 Glen Meadow Drive, Northford. My commercial piece is on 1 Foxton Road, North Branford side. Again, I thank you for considering this, passing it last month. You know, we have a commercial building. I'm sure you're all aware of it as you enter the town. We have since we've built it, we have had troubles renting the second floor. We've had tenants in there up until the last couple of years. We've had trouble renting it commercially, so we've decided to try to move in and put in 2 one-bedroom apartments to offset our costs again. The tax base in our community, we're struggling to stay alive, you know, support ourselves, support our taxes, and keep our building rented. We are fully rented in the other units for commercial, but it's very difficult to rent a commercial unit on the second floor. As you know, there's many other buildings in town that are having the same problem. We have a tremendous influx of people looking for one-bedroom apartments that want to be close to the city, that can commute in and out of New Haven, professional people. And I think you guys all had a study done, and you know the study that Yale has done for the Route 80 corridor. And you know, we have a potential to easily rent it residentially. My architect you have the blueprint there of what we're doing. It's basically taking that unit, splitting it for 2 one-bedroom units. And we will meet, as you see, all the egresses to get in and out of this facility as code requires. I apologize, my architect would have come tonight if there's any questions for him. He was here last month with us.
What are the businesses on the?
We have.
I'm trying to see exactly where this is.
This is as soon as you come into
Yeah, right.
town on the right-hand
From
side.
Fox.
So we have a karate studio that takes
Yeah,
up
okay.
2 large units,
Yeah.
a whole enchilada Mexican restaurant,
I know where you are.
a pastry shop, Italian restaurant.
Yep, yeah, I know where you are.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we're just trying to, like I said, because it's so difficult renting commercially, that you know, we're struggling to meet all our requirements. Our mortgages, our taxes have gone up, and it's a shame to not be able to utilize those spaces for professional couples or individuals that want to commute back and forth into the city. And that's what we're seeing a big influx of.
Yep.
So,
okay.
Is there fire exits? I see the stairs to each unit, but so they're gonna have fire exits? Is it just like the ladder goes out the window, or what is it, a fire
those
exit?
2 exits will be the means of egress in and out. And also windows that'll meet the egress code to get in and out of that
So the
building.
second exit would be the window?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sprinkler?
I'm sorry?
Is it
And the building is sprinkled, yes.
Yeah, I think Tony
Yes.
had that as
The fire marshal had come over, he's knows the building, he knows it's sprinklered, so, yes.
Questions?
Be straightforward.
Ron, Dave, any questions? Okay.
And again, it requires a site plan,
Yeah.
basically site plan, but again, in essence, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a change of use. I mean, the site plan hasn't changed at all there. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for considering. I appreciate it.
So we're going to open up the public portion of the public hearing. So again, same protocol. If you want to speak up in approval, you can come forward, name, address, make a comment, statement, and then we'll open it up for anyone in opposition. Anyone want to speak in approval? Take your time, John.
Well, I listened to Mr. Plummer make his plea here this evening, and knowing him, I got to know him the last few years. He's a solid man. He give you a word. I'm sure he'll make that place as safe can be. It'll meet the public standards, the town standards, and I recommend it highly. We need to do more about this. We got to become business friendly in this town and work together with the businessmen, because if we lose the businesses, we're in big trouble. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anyone else from the public want to speak? Okay, anyone want to speak in opposition or make a comment? Okay. No one else needs to make a comment, wants to make a comment? Okay, we'll close the public hearing portion, or the public portion of the public hearing. Anything else for the applicant or? No? Okay. So we can move on to action, right? Okay. Do you have a motion? Do we need to close the public hearing?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did, yeah,
We did.
for the public part.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move to the next item on the agenda, which is action, possible action in the public hearings. We'll start with PNC application 2014-15-1, which is the one concerning the propane.
Kurt, have a proposed motions?
Yeah, I'm just adding one thing on the proposed motion. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, basically, I'll pass down, all I really did was the motion approving the wording as discussed. I just added the words in an I2 zone because it's contained in the attachment, the Schedule A revision, but I just added the words that is permitted use with a site plan in an I2 zone. Normally, if you're gonna make a motion on it, to state the reasons. One of the bigger ones normally is if it's conforms to the plan of development. And one of the things in plan of development is promoting economic development. So, you know, from that perspective, it doesn't address this item particularly, but it, you know, addresses overall economic development issues. And any other reasons, such as if it's a comfort level with public safety and the like, that it doesn't have an adverse impact on it. But basically, that's it. I mean, it's really, it's written that way. I put in an effective date of September 5th. That's basically allows for a public notice and an appeal period, a 15-day appeal period that everything is subject to. Puts it at September 5th. That actually works if anyone's going to apply for a subsequent site plan application. That's really the deadline for the October meeting. So it doesn't change the overall time frame, but and it complies with statute requirements. I think that's it.
Okay, so as we make our statement of for or against, maybe if you give a reason. We'll make the motion first, I just.
Yeah, I move to approve P and Z application 2014-15-1 for petition of North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the North Branford zoning regulations by amending Section 23.1, Schedule A, permitted uses as set forth in Schedule A by adding the following language as a permitted use requiring administrative approval of a site development plan in an RI2 zone. C, and this is the addition, C3023, bulk storage of propane on parcels of land south of Route 80, east of Cyril Road, and bounded by all sides at the time of application by similarly zoned properties, and to modify the text of section 23.2.6 to read as follows. Bulk storage of cement, petroleum products, public utility company electric power plants, generating facilities, and gas storage other than propane. And that would, the effective date would be September 5th, 2014.
And I just put in ascertain to submit application documents, because that also does include, we have the Schedule A.
Right.
Okay.
We have a second.
Ron seconds. All in favor?
And again,
Roll
reasons.
call.
Yeah,
Okay,
reasons.
roll
Roll call, yeah, sorry.
I vote aye. It fits the plan of development where we're looking for economic development. And I am convinced from the comments we heard from the fire chief, the safety is no greater hazard with this than many other things that go on in town. And so I'm satisfied that the safety is being looked at.
Thank you.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to say, me too. For
It's
the exact
either-
same reasons. It's an industry going into an industrial park surrounded by industry. It fits. It fits the what an industrial park is, and also the comments from the chief, both at this meeting, the chief steward, I'm sorry, from this meeting and previous meetings, the mutual support from the various towns in the area. Should something happen, that there's quick response from, you know, everything. I believe even New Haven with foam. So I'm confident in the chief's statements.
Thanks, Ron.
I'm also in favor of the motion because we currently have propane trucks traveling the roads daily now with no accidents, and the town will actually benefit by having those trucks and tax dollars in our town rather than someone next to us. We can gain from that, tax dollars.
Thanks. So I was initially concerned, and I did some reading of myself, but I think the testimony of first of all, the fire marshal had no comments, but in particular, the testimony of the chief really kind of allayed those fears. It is very regulated. NFPA 58 is probably, if it's double-sided, it's probably a good half-inch thick. There's fire safety plans, there's redundancies, and we're going to have the opportunity to review that when it comes forward in the site plan. So for that reason, I approve as well. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so next item is 3B on the agenda, and it's P&Z application 2014-15-13.
Again, this one it's a special use requirement, so it has the same format as the other one. It's really just, it's the use. They're not changing the building or the site plan per se, but it's the use. And it's, that's how it would be,
Yep.
that format, with other reasons as well, so.
I move to approve planning and zoning application 2014-15-3 for petition of special use permit request under section 23.1, Schedule A, line A2, to construct 2 one-bedroom dwelling units on the second floor of an existing building fronting on Foxen Road at number 5 Foxen Road, map 14, lot 8, B1 zone. Owner applicant DNS Realty LLC, as contained in the submitted application documents.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Oh, I vote aye. I think it's providing some lower cost housing, which we need in town for the kids that want to come back and can't find a place to live.
Thank you.
I also vote aye. It only makes sense. Aside from that, the fact that the building has sprinklers makes me think it's actually safer than my home. So I'm in favor of that.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm also in favor of it, opening up space for some of the business owners to help recoup their costs, to help stay in business in the town, help them bring in additional tax dollars again, help offset our tax costs of our Board of Ed.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, I approve as well for many of the reasons stated. I think it fits in with our plan of development. As the gentleman said, it's in the Yale design study for a different area, but still the same concept of having residential above business. So I approve as well. So motion carries 4-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Yeah, thank you.
Well appreciated for myself and my family. Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, new business. We have P&Z application 2014-15-2, site development plan, installation of outdoor generator, 725 Foxen Road. Is that okay? 725 Foxen Road, map 24, lots 12 and 12A. It's an I2 zone, and the owner is South Central Regional Water Authority, applicant Dig and Bond Incorporated.
And just quickly before you start, included in the packet I left for you is basically report from the fire marshal. The first item, no problem with the application, as long as they comply with the fire codes, building codes. The building department said pretty much the same thing. Then there is included the application, a statement of use provided by the applicant, and there's plans, and reduced plans, reduced versions. I think the plans you probably have over there. So with that,
Okay,
it's yours.
just, name and company and.
Darlene Buttrick with Ty and Bond, and I'm here with Patrick Keogh from the Regional Water Authority. We're here, like I said, for the approval of a generator construction project. This is actually the third phase of electrical improvements at the treatment facility, which is right next door here. So the first phase, we came before you guys approximately 5 years ago, was for replacement of the first generator. There are 2 generators that are used to provide emergency power for both the pump station and the water treatment plant, the site. That project was completed in 2010. We came before you guys a few years after that for the second phase of improvements, which included new utility switchgear, transformers, and a lot of equipment indoors in that pump station as well. And this is the final and third phase, which is replacement of the other generator on site, which is approximately 30 years old. That generator is currently located inside the pump station and will now be located outside the pump station, behind the pump station, so it's actually will be less visible than the one that is there right now that I think you can see from the road. The overall construction will include a concrete pad and retaining wall for the generator to sit on, and then there's actually
Is it a diesel generator?
yes.
So you have diesel.
So I'll just, so there's actually also two 6,000-gallon diesel storage tanks on site, and those are getting removed as part of the project. The two previous generators are turbine generators, and the fuel was located external to those generators. Both the existing generator and the proposed have an integral tank that's part of the overall enclosure that has a dual wall tank with all the sensors and so forth to detect any sort of leak. So it's a better design than what they have there now. So they are, they're regional water authorities. It's in alignment with their safety procedures to try to upgrade what they do have on site and make it safer. So.
A quick question. The overall length of this generator is how big?
About 60 feet.
Roughly the size of a train locomotive, right?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty big. I actually, I did bring photos of
Is it just a
the-
big rectangular box?
That's all you're gonna see. There's actually one out there right now.
Yeah, I brought photos of what the new one that was installed in 2010 looks like. I can show that to you.
Ron, it almost looks like a locomotive.
Years ago, they weren't using locomotives.
No, I've seen the ones that the phone company uses, and they look like locomotives.
Locomotives?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when GM was taking
big
it off.
box.
It's about 13 and a half feet high.
That's-
This second generator will be located behind, like, on the opposite side from the road, so you won't be able to see this one.
I'm sure I don't have to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How much noise does this
Well, that's
generate?
That's the Pritchard Brown enclosure, and they're built to help attenuate the sound.
Yeah, the generator has a pretty sophisticated noise attenuation enclosure. That's the enclosure that you see in the photo. It's designed for 83 decibels at 10 feet and 55 decibels at 250 feet, which 80 decibels is about what they consider to be city noise on a noisy city day, and less than 60 is like normal office conversation. When the first generator, the 2010 generator, was installed, we did the noise testing for that, and we tested 76 decibels at 10 feet and 55 at 250 feet. So it did meet the requirements of the enclosure. And we also measured road noise just at Foxton Road, and it was about 82 decibels during the day. So really, on a general day when they're testing the generator, it's not going to generate any noise louder than what is going on Route 80.
Drowned out by the road.
It would probably be, the middle of the night during an emergency when it's being used 24/7. That someone might be able to hear the humming of the generator, but it's shouldn't be anything that's
Like
causes
people
any harm.
Is this a backup generator for the existing one then, or what is this?
We have two, basically, and it's such an important site, just in case that one goes down, we have a second
So
one right
they're
there.
they're never both running at the same time? They alternate?
They shouldn't be. The only
It's
instance
an
that
emergency
they
generator.
correct.
You
They're
exercise
emergency.
a monthly to just,
Yes,
and then if
Yeah.
the power goes out, they come on and
Correct.
they go as long as you need them, so.
It's designed so that only one would be needed under most situations. I think it was only if it was like the peak of a hot summer day when all the pumps in the pump station are running, that they might run
Fast speed.
both generators. Without power at the facility, I think it's only a matter of hours before pressures would be down in the distribution area. So
Even less than that, we're talking about an hour.
So these are backup generators, they don't run normally? It's usually
No,
run by
correct.
electric? Okay.
Utility, yeah.
And this other, off to the right here, that other small,
That's
Transformer?
one of, that was one of two utility transformers.
okay.
So the power coming into the site is 13,800 volts, and those two transformers step down the voltage to 4,600 volts. There's two of them because there's full redundancy beyond that initial utility transclosure there.
So how close would this new one be to this pitch if you drove by, really?
It's easier to see on this
Doesn't say it's gonna be
plan here,
just about as close as
but,
the one that's there.
So this right here is that generator in the photo, and those are the
Right.
two transformers. The new one's going over here,
Okay.
back behind the pump station.
All right, every day's up. Put your hand more, okay.
Do I need to talk in the microphone so it's recorded? No. The reason that site was chosen as well was for security reasons. They wanted to have at least one generator that wasn't really able to be targeted from the road, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
These days it does.
What's the load bank for, testing?
Yes.
Right, the way,
Sorry.
the way this works is, you have two separate electrical buses,
Yeah.
and the treatment plant's always selected to one side, which is the east.
Hmm.
And we don't like to bump it, because that causes a lot of problems, so what
Yeah.
we're gonna do, so you can test it under a load, you just start the generator and it run on the load bank.
Okay, so
And in a normal, just.
only thing missing will be the throwover then.
What's that?
The only thing missing would be the throwover to the standby generator. In
Well,
your
there'll be a
test.
transfer switch there.
Yeah, but you wouldn't exercise that.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. That was my guess, but my curiosity got the best of me.
Any other questions?
So you went through, like, already went through the town, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, there's building and fire, only with any comment, and then the standard comment. They do have a narrative in here, a statement of use, which again, is a standby emergency generator, pretty much.
This will actually be quieter than the existing one that you're replacing.
I don't know if we've done testing of the turbine there, but it is pretty, I mean, it sounds like an airplane
It is.
when it's
That's exactly
operating.
what it is. It's loud.
It is-
Just
it's a
within
jet
building,
turbine.
but you can still hear it.
How long can this generator run with fuel on site?
And we spec'd it out so that it would run under full load for 2 days before it needs to be refueled. Now, we really don't have to, it really won't be under full load, so hopefully we'd be able to extend it a day or so, if we had to, in other words.
So if the water tanks are fully full, how long before the pumps are activated?
The pumps run all the time
Okay.
in that pump station.
So if there was a power outage, it'd be on day one?
It comes right on, right, those pumps always cannot turn off.
And with respect to the question about the fuel, Regional Water Authority is a priority for the fuel companies. When there is, an emergency, they're, made a priority for refueling their tanks for their generators.
So you said these are self-contained,
Right.
the secondary contained diesel
Right.
within the unit and all that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Inside the enclosure where the generator is located, there's also, the whole floor is basically a containment. So if there was a leak within that area, it also drains back to the belly tank as well.
Okay, good. Any other comments? Dave, Ron?
No.
Charlie?
No?
Did not either. Any other comments? Okay.
Want to try one? Want to try reading one? Oh, you don't read all these.
You don't read all the
You don't read-
conditions.
You just read the numbers. Standard conditions.
Standard conditions 1 through, right? Just go 1 through 20 or 22 or 21.
No, the ones on the top, 249.
Yeah, but I listed them
Oh,
right.
yeah, there, yeah.
That's really all you have to read.
Right, there it is.
Okay. I move to approve planning and zoning application 2014/15-2, site development plan, installation of an outdoor generator at 725 Foxen Road, map 24, lots 12 and 12A, I2 zone, owner South Central Connecticut Regional Water Authority, applicant Teej and Bond.
Close enough.
Ty and Bond.
Yes. As shown on our plans titled Lake Gillard Pump Station Phase 3 Electrical Improvements, sheets 2, 4, and 5 dated 7/3/14, prepared by
Ty and Bond.
Tie.
and Bond Consulting Engineers with the following standard conditions: 2, 4, 9, 10, 14, 21.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 4-0. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And we appreciate the commission's support over the last 3 years of the project.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry for messing the name up, too. I think I said Tig and Bond. All right. We have minutes, but I don't, well, let's see who's here. Oh, yeah, we're all here. Okay, good. So we have minutes of the June 19th meeting, and myself, Charlie, Ron, and David, we're all here. So we can approve these. Anyone have any comments to them? We'll give you some time to look them over.
Make a motion to approve.
You can. Anyone need
Second.
time to, yeah? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Who seconded this? No?
Charlie second. David made the motion, Charlie second. Election of officers.
No, I put it on.
I don't think we've had one of these in a long time.
I think that's when
I think it's always come on, but we've never had enough people.
I mean, we can push, you know, if you want to leave things as is, or, but I just put it on there. I don't know
We
what
don't-
you want to do.
We don't know what's going on with Harry, do we?
I think we'd want Fran here too if we're gonna make decisions. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Harry. Do you know?
I've been sending them copies of the agendas and everything. He's on, he gets everything, but I haven't heard from him.
He hasn't responded to any?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'd say we defer to it. I think at least
I'm with
Fran.
you.
I mean, Fran, I think
Yeah.
it's only fair for Fran to be your friends and on the commission for years, so I think I want her part of the decisions.
Hmm.
Right, makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's acting vice chairman.
Yeah. Yep, I think so, yeah. Plus, she's normally here, so. All right, we'll move on to anything else.
Okay. I try to keep it an open category. I'm just gonna go, just a few correspondence quickly. We did get a copy of a proposed wireless telecommunications tower facility proposed to be located at 40 Flax Mill Road in Branford. There's a letter to the first selectman of Branford, they just CC'd us. Doesn't really affect us, but I'm just entering it in that was.
That's right along the border.
Flax Mill Road is
Yeah.
pretty much,
Right
comes
on.
off by
Honestly.
Blakesley. It goes in the back along that Route 139. cuts
Oh,
through
that
there.
way, okay, yeah, not from the other side, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does
side-
come the other
Comes
side
the
too.
other side too, yeah.
As
It's by the
well.
soccer field, right?
Yeah,
Back
back to
there.
soccer field.
Oh,
yeah.
well, okay.
That's right.
So that's that.
I'm sorry, that came in from COG?
No, that came in from, here, I'll pass it to you, you can take a look.
Oh, just, okay.
Depending if the sites abutting North Branford property are in sight, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I guess if you're in the right location, you'll see
How
it.
tall a tower?
I don't think they indicated that. They've been talking to the
Nothing in
first
the letter.
selectman in
Okay.
Branford, but they CC'd North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission.
Don't worry, it'll look like a bird's nest, don't worry.
Some they claim look like trees.
Yeah, or trees, yeah. I've seen one of those. Tree is
The
that?
Branford sequoia.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've seen those, and I mean, it's an unusual tree, the ones that. they
Yeah,
put
exactly.
up.
Usually taller than the other trees.
Another correspondence, we did get a referral from Regional Planning Agency about the town of Wallingford referral regarding proposed zoning regulation amendments pertaining to wall signs.
I don't think there's an
Yeah.
inter-town problem with that.
Yeah, that's exactly, I'm just reading it into the record. There's a proposed subdivision application from town of Guilford on the Sullivan property along Route 1.
Oh, yeah.
It's a one-lot subdivision for an existing,
What's this, where's the Sullivan property?
Newer's Orchards.
Yes, yep.
Right there, that
It's
whole
100
piece.
acres for sale?
Well, this is, they're splitting off a 4-acre parcel, which has existing buildings on it.
There's a couple of houses across the street already. There's like a cement cape, there's another cape over there.
Yeah, and I think that these are the older, there's some older buildings on there.
Yeah,
But all they're doing is splitting off that, that one parcel.
Yeah, I had a proposal a while back for
You can just see
anything
where,
goes
you
on
can
the
see
rest
where
of
it
the
is.
100 acres.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right
Also, we did get a correspondence from Ronald McCoskey. This is regarding the driveways up at
Yeah.
83 and 87 Parsons Hill Road.
Yeah, it is the old, I think there's the old storage building, maybe.
We're waiting for things
Here's the home.
to be happening on the driveway. Doug Anderson is actually dealing with the property owners to try to straighten out some of the zoning issues and some of, so he hasn't given up, but it's trying to get multiple
Oh, that's-
property owners
I thought
to
it was
agree,
on the other
which is, may or may not happen. I mean, I'm just keeping you up to date. and
Yeah.
The town manager's involved, we're trying to push it. I'm not sure what the resolution will be, but the developer's not walked away, and he's working with people, so.
So I think the last thing I remember, we wanted him, he was supposed to work with Bob Criscola, right? And that was gonna happen, but then,
Well, they came up with a plan,
They did, okay.
you know, in terms of storing some of the water. Again, they got like.
Oh, but they need the neighbors, right?
Yeah, there's 4 properties
Yeah, no,
really
I know,
involved to do it. And there's a sort of a zoning issue between the 2 property owners that own where the driveway is.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to straighten that out as well. So I know there's been attorneys and they're trying to work it out, but it hasn't been worked out yet. And again, on this end, we're just still trying to push it because it's gonna take some, everybody has to compromise a little bit to get with an overall solution. So that's where that is. Another one, we did receive a request to be heard at maybe the first meeting in September, and I just wanted to run that by you. 3250 Clintonville Road, it's a property, it's owned by the same people that own the ice pavilion. It's a parcel in front of it. Currently has a single-family house on it.
Yeah, okay.
They'd like to put some multifamily, individual residential units on like about a 6-acre parcel. And they're talking about coming in for a possible zoning amendment to allow that type of use. And what they've requested is to come in and informally just
Yeah.
get some feedback from the commission before they go too far for the meeting, first meeting in September. And if if there's not too much on, that would be,
Yeah.
you know, be a good time. If all of a sudden there's, actually, we passed, I don't think there would be too much on. It probably would be a good time
Yeah,
to do that.
that would be a good time, right?
Would those be rear lots or on a
Well,
road?
They're fronted, there's an existing house there, and I think it's about a 6-acre parcel. They want to put, you know, multiple units on the property. Individual
multiple
units.
single-
What zone is it? Do we know?
I forget.
Well, we can
Yeah,
wait for it to come back, I just was curious.
Yeah, I mean, so really, they're talking about it, because we have no regulation that allows for multiple
Mhm.
family units anymore. That got sort of kicked out when about 10 years ago, when everybody was against everything at that point in time, requires a special use permit or something. So we don't really have anything that allows for that. So they'd have to come in with a text change to allow for it.
Don't they want like a?
They want to put,
Is it a three-family privately owned, like a duplex?
no, they want to put
individual
individual units,
or
a number, like,
apartments?
I think 30, like 5 units per acre or 4 units per acre. And what they're talking about, they can give, they're trying to be creative, they have some other property to give us open space within the general area.
Are they rental units or owned, privately owned?
Well, privately owned, more like a condo, but
Yeah.
with individual units, is my
Okay.
understanding of them. That's their concept.
So it wouldn't be anything different than Northford Farm, or North Farms then?
Well, but they're single individual units is what they're proposing.
Yeah, freestanding houses.
Freestanding ones, closer to what you have,
Montgomery.
Montgomery Village
Yeah.
type, but, I think a little smaller, a little, the price range is different.
Yes.
So they want to change the zoning to have multiple
Oh, yeah.
homes close together.
So that's their concept, and they asked if they could come in, they have an attorney, the property owners would like to come in, just sort of kick their ideas by you and get a little initial feedback, and then they decide which way to go.
I know the big concern there is going to be, I know they bought all this farm property, so they won't put houses on it and overburden the school system, but now they want to put cluster homes in and do the exact same thing.
Well, I think one of their thoughts is, it's how you write the regulation, so you,
Over 55.
well, if you get it tightened up, and I don't think they're not talking about over 55,
No, that's why there's no
but they're
kids
trying to
involved.
gear it towards, number of bedrooms and that kind of thing, that sometimes has a limitation. I have, they gave me a draft, and I gave them some initial feedback, but, I think the biggest concern, density is one of the biggest concerns, so it fits in with the neighborhood. They actually came in a number of years ago to try to rezone that property, I think 10 years ago, and the property owners across the street were all in opposition to it. That's generally what you run into. But they had some concepts, and a while ago I gave them they had a draft of a regulation, but I'd rather have them present it in terms of what's
good. Absolutely.
at that point.
That's good to get a chance to at least comment, like you said.
Yeah, and let
Come
them,
back formally.
right,
I got a question, this Parsonage Hill letter.
yep.
So this road was put in, said 4 or 5 years ago, and it hasn't met code yet?
It's a driveway.
Okay.
It's a shared driveway.
So the shared driveway floods other
That
properties?
serves two properties, and there's an issue when they graded it, when they finally paved it, they caused some water to go off onto the adjacent property.
So if they filed it,
And we're holding a bond, enough of a bond to correct that, and it's not an easily correctable situation without everybody getting together, because now those two properties where the driveway's on have been sold, there's new owners there.
Oh, jeez.
So,
If this was not sold anymore, you could just come in and cut through and divert it here and here, but now that this person owns this person owns this, you can't say, hey, I'm gonna come put a swale on your property. I don't want a swale on my property.
the developer's willing
Yeah, so
to do something, but he needs permissions from the current owners that he sold the lots to. So it's,
So come out of my yard, put something on my yard to benefit this guy. It's like, well, wait a minute here. How does it benefit
In the
me?
meantime, McCoskey's getting flooded.
yeah. So who's someone paying for his water damage?
That's a legal thing, not,
Yeah.
that's
I
right.
mean,
That's
tell them to put
between them.
put sewer drains in and curbs. contain the water, right?
Yeah.
Well, he has a storage building, I think, close to the property line, which adds to the problems.
Right.
So the developer is trying to work with all parties. I mean, it's not an easy solution because there's so many different parties and they don't always agree on helping each other, I guess.
Good one to go to court, get rid of it.
And we're trying, the town manager's trying to help with it in terms of a
That's a tough
resolution.
situation.
It's what- Yeah, it's, if you have two property owners,
Yeah.
then you can deal with it, but you really have four property owners, which,
But who's getting flooded? The original property owners is not
the adjacent property owner.
yeah, so the
And
water's
none of
running
the-
down the road and flooding his
None of the
property.
new houses have the water problem, it's the existing person, so you have to go and affect the newer homes to mitigate that, but then you affect these, it's just not, it's ugly. Ugly situation.
And all I can say is, we're trying to push, the developer hasn't walked away, and he's spent quite a bit on attorneys and engineers trying to come up with a resolution, and
Is there a time frame allowed to selling these things?
I think we're beyond that. But we're not letting go. And again, as I said, the town manager's trying to help, just to mediate, facilitate some type of solution. They haven't given up.
Anything else?
No. Did I get you with everything I got? And,
Is anyone on vacation? Any vacations coming up? 21st, September 4th? That we know of. I mean, obviously, if you don't know yet, you don't know yet, but. No? Okay. Charlie, you?
I don't get any vacations.
Yeah. Ron, should we ask your wife, since she's here?
We're good all the way up to September 18th, correct?
All right.
one other item, and I told Bill and Charlie, but we hired a town planner. She
yeah,
should be
good.
starting the 18th of this month. Her name's Carrie Dukes.
Carrie Dukes?
Yeah. So,
We said from Madison, she's from Madison.
She's from
She was
yeah.
a planner in Madison, but she's from Madison.
She worked up in the Massachusetts area and recently moved to Connecticut. Seems like, a very bright young lady. Again, there's a learning curve. The tough thing, I think the council wants her to do zoning enforcement is be the zoning enforcement officer as well. So, like I said, there's a learning curve, but I think, she certainly has the ability to pick it up. Like I said, she seems very bright and articulate, so.
Good.
And we'll have that, we'll be transitioning through there.
Yeah.
And that's all I have.
Fair enough.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We adjourn. Thank you.
The next meeting will be the 21st?
21st of August. Yep.